Hi there, it's Sandy from Spiral Crafts and Workshops, and if you want to get into wire art but you're not quite sure what to do, then this is your quick start tool guide to get you up and running as soon as possible. Don't forget, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up down below, and if you want to see more videos like this, then hit subscribe and the bell and you'll be notified when a new one comes out. If you've got any questions as you're watching the video, then pop them in the comments underneath and I will send you a reply. Right then, what do you need if you want to get into wire art? You're going to need 5 things: safety goggles, pliers, set of wire cutters, the all important wire, and then you're also going to need a design either in your head or on a piece of paper so that you can follow the outline if that's easier for you. I find this a lot easier when I started. So, next stage, I want to go through each of these items and give you a few more in-detail tips so that you get the right stuff and you have the best start for your wire art journey. So let's go. We're going to start with... So your first piece of essential kit are your safety goggles. These I put over my glasses because I use glasses for detail wear. So I tend to wear goggles, but you can get safety glasses as well. I know you probably don't want to wear them, but there is an issue when you're dealing with a wire like this, where you're working at this end and you're turning it and moving it around. You can see the other end up here is waving around a lot as I move this, and sometimes it'll smack you in the face and sometimes it'll smack you in the eye as well. The other aspect is that when you're cutting wire, if you don't hold on to both sides of the wire, I'll show you that later, it can float up as well and go into your eye, and that's just not nice. So you might not want to hear it, but you do need safety glasses. So what else do you need? Let's move on to the next item. The second item you need is a pair of pliers. These are flat nose pliers, as you can see there. You can use chain nose pliers, they tend to be more pointed and that's no problem at all. What is essential with these is that you need them to be flat on the inside of the jaws on both sides. Sometimes they will have ridges on some of the pliers, and in this particular case you don't want that, because when you're gripping the wire in between your pliers, you'll find that it will leave marks on your wire afterwards, and it just makes the whole effect of your wire really not very nice and a bit chaotic. So flat on the inside and flat nosed or chain nosed. The other thing to watch out for is you might see some that look cheaper and they have the word mini written in the description. Now this is a mini set of chain nose pliers. They've got the more pointed end. These are 4.5 inches or shorter. I find these not as easy to get a grip because there's nothing here. So I find it a lot harder to get a decent grip with these and a lot more uncomfortable to use. They are useful at certain times. So those are under 4.5 inches. These are 5 to 6 inches and you get a lot more leverage for your money, but these will be more expensive. So don't make the mistake I made. I bought mini first thinking they were just cheaper, but they're not, they're smaller as well. So that is what you need in a set of pliers. And what else do you need for your next item? Let's get a look. So your third essential item is a set of wire cutters. These are my dad's, who's passed away now, so that's why they're rusty and a little bit oily, because I look after them and they remind me of my dad. These are side wire cutters, so you've got a V shape here, and if you look at the head on, they'll cut at this side and nowhere else. So that's why they're called side cutters. Have a look in the hardware shops first for both the pliers and the side cutters, because that's a good place to get a cheap set. If you look in the hardware store for the pliers, make sure they haven't got ridges. If not, look at the craft stores or the jewellery making stores, because they'll also have these sort of supplies but at a slightly higher price. So, wire cutters, side wire cutters, work absolutely brilliant. When you're cutting wire, just remember what I was saying a little bit earlier about holding on to both pieces. So if I just cut that, this will flirt off and could smack me in the eye, which is why you wear the goggles. So always cut your wire and hold on to both sides of the wire at the same time, press and cut, and then you won't have any stray bits of wire going up and hitting you in the face or in the eye, or even up your nose. I've had that as well, it's not nice. So that's your wire cutters, and we'll move on to your last piece, your almost last piece of kit that you need next. So your fourth essential item is your wire. Different types of wire that are really good to use are copper, which is what this one is. This is a coloured copper. It's copper on the inside and coloured coated on the outside. And the other one that is really good to use is aluminium. In both cases, I would suggest that you get a 1mm diameter or a 18 gauge if you're in the US. They tend to, I think I'll probably show you now, if I hold on to both sides of that and give it a cut. The 1mm will tend to hold its shape better. It's nice and pliable, as you can see, the copper. So you can still, even though it's a 1mm diameter, it's still easy to bend, and it will hold its shape, and you won't have too many problems with your hands using it. So there we go, and you can make something nice and simple like that very quickly. So copper or aluminium, 1mm, 18 gauge, knock yourself out. And your final and fifth item is going to be your design. Sometimes that's just up in your head, and sometimes you want to print it out on paper. Good idea as well is to, if you want to do words and lettering, that's fine. You can personalise names and things like that. Put them in a flowing font that's nice and easy to follow, not too many angles. Or you can just print out shapes like this, which is what I did when I was practicing in the early days. I only have a few items left from what I did in the early days, because I threw most of them away because they weren't very good, because you're learning, so that's how it happens. So I took my hummingbird shape and did a rough shape around it. You don't have to be absolutely perfect. As you can see, the hummingbird doesn't look too bad, but I just use that as a guideline. Other things you can do, I did a seagull that I saw on the cover of a book that I liked the outline of, and I was just playing around. This one I just did from totally out my head, which is a castle with a spiral door on it. Only take a few minutes to do with that one. And then other times you're just fiddling around and playing and doing sort of starburst shapes just to see what you can do, because that's what you fancy having a go at the time. So that's kind of good fun as well. And then other times you'll sit and do something a bit more elegant. This is a nice little rose. I make these and they go out in the garden in the containers. They've got a nice long stem on them so they can disappear into the soil and stand up from there. And these are they're nice and simple. It's just a spiral with some dents on it and a leaf shape carved in. Now this is a galvanised steel wire because that goes better outside. I don't recommend starting with a galvanised steel wire. I do recommend using these copper ones, covered and coloured or not, whatever, or the aluminium. But if you do want a video on using galvanised steel wire for outside, or chicken wire sculpting as well is something else I could do videos on, then do drop me a line in the comments below and we'll sort out a video on the topic that you're after. It doesn't have to be about one of those two, just let me know if there's anything that you want to cover. So that's it for today. That's all the equipment you need. You need your design, you need your cutters, your pliers, your wire and your all-important safety glasses. So thank you for being here with me, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!